And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. A vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because got things to talk about and nobody wants to talk about it. So let's go ahead and talk about it because then people talk about it. Yeah, I think that's kind of the way that it works. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble all over the place. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. That's Shujin. Hi. I hope everybody's holding up well enough. Right now, over in the Casa del Tribble, it is hot and muggy, and I'm not really happy about it, so yay. I'm sincerely hoping that my choice of drink tonight will be quenching. Introducing you to, the slightly truncated group that we've got tonight. Midwest of the U.S., Brigid, good evening.
Good evening. It's hot and humid here, too.
Yep. And over the water over to Paris, France. Joseph, good morning.
Good morning.
So...
And it's still cool at 6 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah, as always, thank you for, getting up so early to be with us and everything.
Well, I couldn't do it last week. Sorry about that.
No, not a word. You know full well, man. This is the only one that's obligated to be here is me. So anything above and beyond that is perfectly fine by me. Don't worry about it. You're here when you're here. Don't sweat it. So everybody, of course, thank you for being with us. If you are lucky enough to join us while we're taping, which is not to tape anymore, it's a figure of speech, kids. Go look it up. You can join us on YouTube and take part in the live chat, which of course, Stephanie, know that you're over there. Good morning. Hope that you're doing well. Real quick check-in. We're kind of talking a little bit off air before we got started over here. Myself, I am past second week of second vaccination shot. I'm doing okay. My little one is doing fine. We actually had an evening with some friends of ours for the first time in months. It's another couple that has been vaccinated. I'm basically like the last one of our group, little tight knit group that we've got. So it was just the four of us, their cats, and we had dinner and a movie, which was nice to be able to do for a change, considering that they work from home. Don't really get out much. So the chance of anything happening is exceedingly low. It ain't zero, but it's exceedingly low. So we're going to keep it that way. How are you two holding up so far together?
Yeah, hanging in there. I mean, going through a bit of a slight depression because my vacation plans are completely fucked. I don't know how else to say it.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, because my second vaccination is happening on the 16th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, that is good in itself. But
yeah.
I mean, I severely need some time off. And yeah, well, it's going to be broken up into bits and all that. And I had some stuff lined up I wanted to do, and I won't be able to do it. So, well, we'll see.
Yeah, it's always a case, isn't it? Plus the fact that France has had a couple of lockdowns back and forth where, okay, we're going to be able to have a little bit of time to travel around. Okay, no, not so much now. Yeah, that's definitely got to be taking a toll on everybody's psyche.
Yeah, plus it's kind of strange seeing my colleagues again after so long. But
yeah, well, how do you think they feel about seeing you? I mean, really, think about
it. Yeah, well, I took the last couple days off just because of that, so they wouldn't have to see my girl.
That's good.
Yeah, it's weird being around people again.
Yeah.
I think I preferred working at home. Just saying.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. And before we got started, and just shortly before Joseph got the chance to join us. Brigid and I were talking a little bit about COVID vaccinations in our respective counties. And what did I say it was? Minimum one shot was, what was it, like 50%?
45.
45.
Yeah, like 45% here.
Yeah. So over where she is, in my county, which is, roughly the Buffalo area, it's about 55-ish, but I don't know if that's one shot minimum or if it's full vaccination. I don't know. Regardless, the little one and I, we're still masking up for the time being, just to be safe. Even though it says on the store when we went in there to get stuff for making dinner tonight, it says, per the CDC, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask. But as far as I'm concerned, effectively 50%. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do it. I know full well it's just a plain old cloth mask. It's not like I'm wearing an SCBA, but it's a little something.
Well, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, most of the epidemiologists and doctors that I happen to follow and interact with are still wearing masks.
Yeah, yeah,
And they've had their vaccines.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But are they wearing like standard cloth? Are they wearing actual the surgical mask type paper stuff?
surgical masks, and that's what I'm wearing, a surgical mask.
Okay.
They're not very expensive. They do work better than cloth, and they're a lot easier to breathe through.
No, I'll think about that. I'll think about that. Anyway. And Stephanie was saying that over in the UK, temperature-wise, 27C, 80 freedom heat units, whatever.
Yeah, that's pleasant.
Well, yes, no. Remember, it's one thing to have it at 30C, but if it's 80% humidity, you're gonna.
Yeah.
You don't
We
want
had
that.
like 76% humidity here today, and it was like 34 Celsius.
Yeah, that gets a little.
It was brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. However, was also saying it was cool enough to require a jacket when I went out to give the birds water.
Wow.
Okay. I've not had a cold since masking, so I continue to mask. You know what? Really quickly, I'm not the only one that's seen the tech quickies where they're saying that it's possible that there are flu variants that have now expired because they haven't been able to get a foothold anywhere, right? I'm not the only one that's seen that.
Yeah, I mean, flu existent in Australia was not existent. We had a very mild flu season
Yeah,
here.
yeah. What was it? It was like 3,000 total cases, down from like 300,000 or something like that.
Yeah, and as far as I know, only like one or two infants that died from it. I mean, it was,
Yeah, it was noticeable, which is fine by me. All right. Anyway, so like I was talking, it's time to go ahead and try to pick what's going to be on the drinking channel tonight. So, reminding you that I had one last week, which was okay. I got through it. Hofenbrau original from where did they say this was? Munich. Sure, why not? Alcohol 5.1 by volume. All right, that's not so bad. Let's see. Everything else is a can at this point. So, Guinness Nitro Brew Coffee. Reminding you that coffees have not traditionally worked well on this taste testing, but it is Guinness, so
yeah, how much caffeine in it?
I don't know. I'll have to take a look at that. Oh yes, the K2 Brothers Brewing Pineapple Tangerine Milkshake IPA. Yeah, we were talking about this and just like, what? No, I don't know. I don't know. We will see.
Holy can.
It's the funny part about the printing on this can is at the top and the bottom of the label there's this dashed line, and I look at that and I keep thinking to myself, is that where you're supposed to like run the opening, like a pipe cutter kind of thing around it in order to open it up. I don't think that would work well.
No.
I mean, it's worth experimenting to find out, but not today. Cider Creek Hard Cider State Fair. Again, because I like the designs. And the last, and it might be least, depending as to how it tastes, is the Ellicottville Brewing Company, because Ellicottville is out this way. Craft lager with green tea and pomegranate. It is referred to as the rice lager. So, we have some interesting choices.
Oh, you were saying that you were looking for something thirst quenching?
Yeah, kinda.
I
So,
would do the hard cider.
I was kind of wondering about that. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. You know what? All things considered, it's probably not a bad idea. Oh, it also says very clearly on the side of it, unfiltered. Okay, so now see, after having seen some of the videos on YouTube that have been coming up for me that are titled "Customer States dot 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 dot," which is all about mechanics, grease monkeys who are working the pits, and they bring their video recording equipment. Customer states there's a rattling coming from their engine, and they turn on the car and they rev the engine, and the engine block goes. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, that's a really good indicator that one of the bolts, at least one of the bolts that holds down your engine to the car, ain't working. Could be that it's not there anymore. Could be that it's broken. In any case, that's bad. So in that case, Cedar Creek Hard Cider State Fair. All right, well, I guess we'll open this up and see what we get here. I'm not getting an instant hit of any any smells of anything, so. Oh, I'm kind of getting an apple cider. Very clear. Okay, it was very clear. I love using this. This is supposed to be my ice cream sundae glass. I love using this. Huh. I would start to believe that looks like cider. Funny enough.
Yeah.
So we may actually have a... Oh my.
Is it good?
The first taste coming off of that made me think that I was drinking seltzer water.
Is that bad or good?
I forget which one is the one that tastes bitter. If it's seltzer or mineral water, or whichever one the heck that is. That was not a good taste to start off with.
Ew, I'm sorry.
And it doesn't have nearly enough apple cider to it. It's kind of like they brewed a bitter beer and then added some apple flavoring to it.
That's disappointing.
That is quite disappointing. Made in New York. All natural, gluten-free. Okay. 100% fermented New York State apples, caramel, peanut, and cinnamon. Contains sulfides.
Peanut?
Naturally gluten-free product contains milk and peanut products.
That's
Curious. Store cold, drink cold. Well, it is cold. Crack the can open, and the candy apple taste will whisk you away, just like the roar and screams from the rides at the fair. I'm calling bullshit. So, This is not looking real good, but
Oh,
Okay, I
hello,
chose
peanut allergy.
poorly.
yeah, well, no idea. Stephanie, yes, apples are gluten free, but reminding you that, like I said, it tastes like it's a beer that's had apple put into it. I can understand why they would want to go ahead and say it's actually not got any kind of gluten product to it. All right, you know what? That seems kind of stupid, but okay, considering the taste, I'll give you guys a marginal pass on that one. Still seems stupid, but you know, whatever. We'll work it from there. So let me get started with the opening for tonight. We'll get the horrible scopes, and we'll kind of work the rest of the evening and see if Dalan shows up. And I'm saying that because talking to him last night, he seemed to be pretty on board with doing tonight. Reminding you, like I told Joseph earlier, it's a voluntary show, man. People show when they show, they don't show when they don't show, and I'm not going to hold it against anybody. It's more than just me, so I'm not too worried about it. And Stephanie, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I'm considering that down Ellicottville, New York way, there is a cider festival, and let me tell you, fresh pressed cider, fresh pressed apple cider, or apple juice, I forget which one it technically qualifies as, is a thing of orgasmic beauty. It truly is. That out of the way. I never thought I'd use that term. At least on this show. Let me get rolling over here. So, your 5-minute freestyle, with 5 minutes on the clock, starts now. Summertime. I've gotten people who have been pissed off at me because I've been warning people at the end of my DJ shows that, don't be doing stupid stuff with the summertime upon us. Because technically the summer hasn't hit yet. I know. We haven't hit the 21st of the month. It's not technically summer yet. I know. But that doesn't change the fact that it's warm enough that people want to go out there and start enjoying time that, they would otherwise want to do during the summer when it gets really hot and really bright with sunlight and really, really likely to go ahead and sunburn the skin. At the end of my shows, I warn everybody that if they're going to go ahead and be doing boating, don't drink and boat. Drinking and boating is a bad combination. And I don't think there are people who really, truly understand just how much so. And what I say at the end of the show is, you want to get drunk and fall down on dry land, you're going to bump your head. Grand scheme of things, that's really what you're going to end up with. Worst case scenario. I know worst case scenario is more likely concussion, fall backwards and impale yourself through the head on a gate like you're Deadpool. Be that as it may. You trip, you fall, you bump your head. Okay, whatever. You trip and fall drunk on the water? Dude, that's it. It is entirely possible for you to just slip into the water, nobody notice you because everybody else is having a good time too, and dancing around, skipping around, whatever they're doing, listen to music, and not even hear that bloop, gone. And I've had some people who are just like, if you're going to be on the water, wear a damn life preserver. That's not necessarily going to help. There is a reflex action that happens with the human body that if it is impacted with cold water especially, you will simply gasp for breath. It is a reflex action. You can't do anything to stop it. Really, you can't. So imagine you're out there on the water. It's 30 Celsius out there, 80 freedom heat units, whatever, and the sun's beating down because, that's the whole reason why you want to go out there. You want to go out there, have yourself a good time. It's a nice warm day. The breeze is going to be blowing, so the humidity isn't really that much of an issue because the breeze is still going. You're having a good time out there, and all of a sudden, you're wearing your life jacket. You take a header off of the front of the boat because you're having a little bit of fun. And you end up head first, with a jacket on, into the drink. The first thing that's going to happen is you're going to... And that's it. That's it. You have now inhaled. Let's say if you're lucky, a cup, 8 ounces of water into your lungs, directly into your lungs. The reflex action of your body is to cough it out, which means in order to cough out, you need to inhale again, which then perpetuates the cycle, and suddenly, if you're lucky, the folks have noticed that, hey, somebody's missing. Oh, look, there's somebody flopping around on the side of the boat, and it's bright orange. This looks like Jeff. God damn it, Jeff, what the hell? They pull you in, and if you're lucky, if you're really lucky, 24 hours later, you won't end up drowning. Why 24 hours later? Because yet again, there's another reflex that happens in the human body that if it drowned a little bit, it's entirely possible that your lungs are going to fill up on their own with fluid, and you will drown a day later on dry land. Don't let this happen to you or the people you care about, because drowning is one of the absolute worst possible ways to die. Don't let someone you know be a statistic. Please. This is episode, where is it? Over here, 364 on the docket, Your Honor. Freedom minus responsibility equals, well, see, Dalan and I were talking about this last night. And it was a matter of, we kind of felt that maybe that's kind of where the Karening has been coming from. Because people want to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do, but they don't want to take on the responsibility of what that all is. And, the way that we talked about it, even though it was relatively brief, kind of made us wonder, yeah, maybe there is a little something to this. Considering some of the stuff that we've talked about and some of the stuff that we've seen comparing our various countries, maybe there's something worth talking about on this one. Because it's more than just societal stuff. But we'll get to that. This isn't going to make any sense to anybody that's not listening to it all, but I thought that was Groucho Marx, hence the reason why I started to laugh. There's a reference to... Anyway, that's kind of just the way that's going to work. So let's get you rolling with the horrible scopes tonight, and we'll roll on and we'll have a little bit of fun. So for those of you that know what your astrological signs are, cool. Those of you that don't, just either make it up or copy off of somebody else's paper. We know full you've been doing that anyway. So let's get you rolling over here. Aries, they say you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find a prince. If you remember who Joe Cartoon is, and this is a horrible idea, keep your kissing lips away from anyone who needs a heat lamp to stay alive. Brigid, have fun.
Taurus. Striving to be the best in your area of expertise is commendable. May we suggest upping the bar a little and being more than a figurative doormat? You want to impress us? Be an actual doormat. The hair on your back will collect dirt well.
As an Italian, I am very offended by that particular one, but you know what? Nothing I can do about it. It's in the stars.
Well, stop complaining and just get out the lawnmower.
I'm so gonna hurt somebody.
Gemini. You need to stay better hydrated, Gemini. Your drinks need to be more water-based than they have been. Milkshakes and mixed drinks don't qualify. Remember, you're trying to set an example for your young garden sprouts. Be good to them.
Yep. Cancer Moonchild, leave it to you to try to solve every problem at the same time. You're burning yourself out. Just handle the first one, and so many more will just naturally fall into place. Start by changing your name from Spitzer to Grolf, so you can break into show business.
Leo. Games of chance are in the mood to be nice to you this week, Leo. Try your hand at online poker and see what we mean. Fair warning, though, it won't last long. Enjoy it while you can.
Virgo. Show tunes are your ticket out of jury duty this week. You don't need to sing them, just hum them quietly as you walk through crowds of people. Soon you'll have people wondering why, oh, what a beautiful morning is on everybody's lips.
Uh-huh. I'm going to have to explain that one when we get done, because the story behind that one is glorious. Libra, this week's job search will take you to the YouTube nostalgia department, Libra. Since the era of reboots ain't dead yet, you're going to help resurrect some old classic series. Get used to saying, will it blend? And is it a good idea to microwave this? And you'll have a new career ahead of you.
Scorpio. You're caught in a dilemma, Scorpio. You know how cool all these new home automation gizmos are, but you're afraid of them. That isn't the dilemma, though. It's trying to explain to your friends the tech truism that says, if it's not automated, someone can hack it.
Try
That's
again?
true.
Try again?
If it's automated, someone can hack it.
Yes. You said not automated.
Oh, sorry. Remember, Alexa is not your friend. And neither is Microsoft Bob for Windows 95. And not Clippy either.
The road to hell is paved with good intention.
Yeah, all 13 disks you needed to install Microsoft Bob for Windows 95.
That actually existed?
Mm-hmm.
What is Microsoft Bob?
Try to imagine Windows 95 was so much nicer to interact with, but Microsoft wanted a nice smiley nerd face to help you along with everything, because apparently Windows 95 wasn't clear enough.
Clippy was cute.
Clippy, the voice,
Yes.
the only reason why Clippy didn't have an actual voice was because the only voice that would have worked for Clippy would have been Gilbert Goddamned Gottfried.
That would be hilarious, actually.
Don't even get me.
Instead-
Read the goddamn script.
Yeah. Sagittarius. I'm in the right one, right?
Yep.
Okay. Sagittarius. With the summer heat about to step up, you might want to consider taking a trip to visit the northernmost point of the contiguous U.S., aka Young Bays Resort. Small problem is that you can't get there in a car because you'd have to cross into Canada, and there's no airport. But if you head to Arneson's Rocky Point Resort, Minnesota, you could rent a boat to take you. It's only 30 miles on the water, and it can't be that bad, can it?
Fair warning. 30 miles on a boat.
Really, 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 really big tires.
Yeah, it's funny you say that one. Capricorn. Remember that pet rock you put googly eyes on it so it would have some kind of personality to it? Once it dies, how are you going to bury it? You never thought about that, but now you have to. Consider putting it in a shoebox, floating it on the lake, and shooting a flaming arrow into it. It's what he would have wanted Just remember to wear a forearm guard on your left. Those bowstring scrapes hurt. Believe me, they hurt.
Aquarius.
They hurt a lot.
I've never used a bowstring, so I'm not.
It hurts. It hurts. Try to imagine a really, really fast piece of nylon suddenly deciding that it's going to half implant itself into your arm and scrape all the way across.
Ooh, no.
Right.
Aquarius. Last week's horrible scope was bought and paid for, but it was returned for. Let me see. What was that reason again?
Oh, hold on.
Wrong.
Hold it. I got the. Yeah, there it is. Right there. You're good.
How sad. Wrong size and or color.
Mm-hmm.
And since we only give store credit instead of refunds, and here's your replacement horrible scope. Cats can be genetically modified to glow in the dark and look like they are radioactive. This will not give them 18 half-lives, but it'll help save your life at night so you don't step on them in the dark. Do a cost-benefit breakdown to see if the investment is worth it for your cardiologist copay.
It is true, by the way.
Yeah, they can be. I've seen them on the internet.
Wait, are we talking about cardiologist copays or are we talking about radioactive cats?
Radioactive cats that
Gotcha.
glow in the dark.
Okay, Pisces. Tattoo removal is not something you can just learn through YouTube videos and buying a laser off Amazon. It takes longer than that, and you know it. But if you don't believe us, try it on yourself. Buy a dressing room 3-way mirror and you'll be able to get all that tramp stamp off. You'll be able to get at that tramp stamp of yours. By the way, it translates as circumcised squirrel. I know a way to get tattoos off with a laser by yourself. If you have a cat, just run the laser pointer over the area you want removed and the cat will take care of that.
That's, yeah, that kind of works. So those are your horrible scopes for this week. Congratulations for those of you that wanted them. Aquarius, would you stop pissing and moaning about how you don't like what you got last time, even though you bought and paid for it? Not my fault. It kind of is, but be that as it may. Okay, so let me really quickly explain about who had it? Virgos. I know somebody who went to the Air Force Academy. I'm not going to name names because it's they went to the Air Force Academy and they ended up being a pilot, a war aircraft pilot. I'm not going to describe which one, doesn't matter. But what they did was they intentionally would go through the days intentionally humming a song. Very specifically each day, a different song. To see, by the end of the day, how many people ended up having it as an unconscious earworm. And were commenting about it. Because of this, and when some of their fellow students finally figured it out, this flight person was given the call sign, because you don't select your own call sign, was given the aircraft call sign Hummer. Which means those of you that thought that the call sign Hummer meant something else, you're a pervert and you should feel bad for yourself.
Feel bad though.
Only just a little bit bad.
No.
Only just a little bit bad. But believe it or not, one of these, at a party that this person had, they actually said, okay, my call sign is Hummer. So here's your challenge. And they gave three different accountings of how they got their call sign. One of which, of course, was the truth, which is one I just gave you, and one of the other one was that they had a parent come to visit them and their significant other, and the videotape that shouldn't have been in the VCR was there and accidentally queued up and made everyone incredibly uncomfortable. And you would be not at all surprised that most of the other Air Force people who were wondering went for the VCR tape that shouldn't have been in the player story and thought that that was the right one. So, Hummer, wherever you are out there, hats off to you. But it's not, because it's part of the look for me today. Whatever. So have a good laugh at that one, everybody, because Lord knows we could use a little bit of levity every once in a while, considering what's about to have happen. The old line, with power comes responsibility. You know, it's true. But we don't think of it in the terms of, with great power comes great responsibility, as if we're all superheroes, because it's not about that on a day-to-day basis. It's a matter of that we have the ability to do a lot of things just because we want to. We can travel from place to place. We can go order food somewhere. We can actually walk up to a place and do actual shopping surrounded by other people to a certain degree sometimes, depending as to what's going on. But, you know, we don't usually think about the responsibility that we've got towards each other. And if nothing else, this whole medical crisis has definitely shown that there are a lot of people who absolutely just do not care to take the responsibility that as a society we should. And that's damned annoying. So is that the Karen thing? Kinda. That's part of it. It's more than just the Karens, though, because it's the groups that just don't want to be bothered, and as Dalan has put it, the Ma Freedoms folk and the many church organizations who necessarily don't want to be keeping people away, because how the hell else are they going to get their money? But of course, what does God need with a credit card? But that's a whole other question right there, isn't it? So that's where we're going tonight, and I'm going to basically open up the floor at any point for whatever it is that you guys want to go ahead and jump in on, because Lord knows there's more than enough room in this pool for anybody to dive into.
Oh, what's the topic, just to start with?
Well, basically, just the idea that, you know, societally, we don't realize the responsibilities a lot of times of what being in a society actually means. The responsibilities that we have to one another. And some want to ignore it intentionally, some don't care, some just want to be able to do whatever the hell it is that they want to do, and, you know, I got mine, screw all you.
And some aren't even aware of that they should have this empathy for others.
Yeah, isn't that, you know, it's...
But I can't. That's the problem, is that you can't read minds. I spent, you know, I spent my entire life just wondering how people could not think about other people. And it took me like 40 years to realize that most people don't. There are only, without digging down too deep, I mean, if the neural construct isn't there, it just isn't there. I mean, if people have never developed empathy for other people and operate only based on their own comfort level. You know, what they can get and where and from who and who to take it from and who not to take it from.
Is that the mental process that's otherwise referred to as the id? The
It is the Latin equivalent of the soul, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah,
As
because
far as I know.
I don't remember which is which. I'm thinking in the terms of the part of the brain, or so it's been described as basically the equivalent of a 3-year-old that is just mine, mine, mine.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, am I
No,
thinking?
I was talking about neuroplasticity.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
But there's a certain point where after all the years that, I mean, we're talking about people who are in their 40s, 50s, which means up into our age brackets, which is freaking annoying as all get out. Who, in some cases, are just the I want to talk to a manager, period, straight away without caring whatsoever about anybody else that's in the way of it all.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I just want what I want without any further thought, and I think that's really where the point is. That people aren't assessing. They're not assessing reality. They're assessing the contents of their own indoctrinated brain.
they have a lot of people acting out too, especially, with the ending of lockdowns and things like that. Yeah, there are so many people now that are, getting flights diverted because they can't behave themselves on an airplane.
Really?
And
Oh
I
yeah,
had I had read that, the FAA just this year alone has had almost 3,000 reports of unruly passengers. And there was a flight attendant a couple of weeks ago that got teeth knocked out. And most of it is over, masks, which is really stupid. We still have requirements now that people wear masks on transportation. And, according to what they're, saying, that about 2,200 of these reports have been over masks and that people are getting violent.
yeah. As a matter of fact,
That's
there are a couple.
crazy.
Yeah, there are a couple of U.S. air carriers. I don't know outside of because I hadn't investigated it much, but I have seen that there are several carriers here in the U.S. who have decided that they are going to be suspending alcohol sales on flights to it in order to kind of mitigate the any additional fuel to those fires. And as far as I'm concerned, makes perfect sense to me.
Well, they're even putting some people on lists to ban them. I
Yeah,
know Delta's doing that.
Yeah, it should be.
yeah. And then there are going to be these people who are going to be yelling and screaming and trying, I'm sure, to bring some kind of a suit to these companies to say that they're not allowed to discriminate against me because XYZ reason. And the carriers are just going to have to go, yeah, we're not basing it on your correlation with any of these things that you want to tick off on a pegboard. No, we're doing it because you're an asshole. You specifically. So, what's the expression? Kick rocks?
Yeah, I mean, if you're assaulting the workers, I mean, yeah.
Knocking teeth out of people whose jobs is otherwise so thankless,
Hmm.
whose job is, if anything goes wrong, when something inevitably will go wrong at some point, because statistically, sooner or later, something will, even something minor. They're the ones who are supposed to be, making sure that everybody is as safe as possible.
Yeah.
It's just the bridge to violence. I mean, that's the thing I really don't understand. Like, what kind of situation do you have to be in to consider yourself in such danger that you have to lash out?
I
Because
don't
you are
know.
being mildly inconvenienced.
Yeah. Welcome to the snowflake generation.
Yeah, the ones who keep saying everybody else is, who are just projecting like crazy.
Isn't that insane? I mean, the people who are being most manly man, by threatening violence and all that, they're actually the biggest snowflakes.
And a lot of it's over just a mask. I mean, it's not that much of an ask to tell someone to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder if these people actually accept the germ theory of disease in the first place. Reminding you, I said accept, not agree with, not believe in, accept. Because the germ theory of diseases is proven to be accurate.
And if they
Yeah.
don't think about anything, just depend on other people to tell them what to think and whatever from their trusted
Oh, and they have.
whatever, then they're not, if it's not part of their talking points that they usually follow, they're not going to consider it in any way until it literally happens to them. This is my impression. I'm getting this more and more.
No, that's perfectly fair. I mean, Brigid can vouch me on this one, that the vast majority of these people, if you were to do a little bit of a deep dive into the reporting as to why these people have been the way they are, more often than not, I would expect that you would end up seeing some kind of a Q conspiracy theory, anti-mask, the election was stolen overlay with the vast majority of these people as a percentage.
But I'd like to underline the point that no matter what they choose, I think you find that 99% of the time it's going to be part of some talking points list somewhere that was seen elsewhere, made by some other human.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, like
It's never anything original. That's the thing. We're always hearing about these theories and all that, but it's never anything personal or thought out, or it's always a direct relation with seen on television or
Facebook.
Yep.
I had coworkers sharing on Facebook that, wearing masks was harmful because, oxygen deprivation and breathing in your own CO2 and it makes COVID worse. And I was like, okay, you work in the medical field, what the hell?
Hold on a second.
Hey, wait. If you're breathing in your own COVID, wouldn't you be vaccinating yourself against it?
Okay, that's that's dumb enough to loop back around to being like Mandelbrot versions of no. Okay. Follow me. Follow with me on this for just a second. Remember earlier I said that it seemed like a lot of these people who tend to be the very, I don't want to be following along with the smart people and have been people who are up into our age brackets. Who are up into our 50s now. Maybe even a little bit more. Maybe a little bit less, but let's go with 50 for the moment, for argument's sake.
Okay.
These are also the same generation, give or take. Let's give you a 5-year either way for a second here, because you'll see where I'm going on this in just a second. I remember growing up, this put me, reminding you that I'm now 52 years old. I'm 39. 52 years old, 39. In the 80s, the cliques that would happen in the mid 80s were very much the big springy hair, Aquanet crunching heads.
Yeah.
But for the girls in particular, to say that they were cliques of girls who were simply vicious for no other reason other than they found it entertaining. Fast forward to today, Are these people, specifically the women, the Karens, forgive me, are they the same people? I'm really wondering if these are people that never grew out of their high school evil clique stage.
Some of them that I went to high school with, I would have to say yes. But I also have some people that I went to high school with that were also sharing that bullshit about, being in a room with a vaccinated person could cause you to have miscarriages and nosebleeds and mental problems, and the nanobots would come and get you and kill you or some weird, crazy stuff.
Okay, some people really need to stop watching the early seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
And they're fans of Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. I don't know if you're familiar with her or not. I guess you are because you're covering your eyes.
Oh my God.
I know, right?
There are only 2 tenpennies that I know of. The Dr. Tenpenny, and you can probably hear the over-exasperated air quotes going through my throat right now.
MD. That's what's scary.
I don't care. So was Mr. Wakefield at one time.
Well, this is true.
Until he wasn't anymore.
But at least Mr. Wakefield is not sticking forks to himself and saying that he's magnetized because of a vaccine.
Was it? I just heard about this. They were talking about this on the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. They were talking about her.
Yes, she was testifying.
And she's
What
a
state
doctor
was
of
it?
osteopathy.
Yeah, and osteopaths are real doctors.
Okay.
But, going into a hearing and testifying that this magnetizes you and trying to stick shit on herself, that's
It
metal.
makes as much sense as 5G.
She was claiming that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is there in the human body that can be affected by?
Well, hold that thought. Hold that thought, because now you get something else. By the way,
The iron in your blood, maybe?
well, yes, but hold on a second. First off, Tenpenny, the only good Tenpenny is the restaurant in Pittsburgh by the name Tenpenny. Trust me, it's a great place. After going to a convention all day, they're really, really nice folks over there. 2, yeah. Remember, MDs can be revoked after a certain amount of time. Like I said, with Andrew Wakefield, like I said, I'm calling him Mr. and not Doctor because he was a freaking lunatic, and he had it revoked. But be that as it may, okay. The thing about the magnetization of the human body. Does the human body have its own magnetic field? Technically, very technically, yes, but only because there are molecules in the human body that have polarity to them. Most assuredly, water has polarity to it.
We also have metal in our bodies too.
Right.
Because magnetism is polarity, but actually that would mean that we would be a magnet for other things.
No, here's the reason why. No. I'll tell you why.
Lack of ferrogenic substances. The only thing that can happen is a polarization of current, and that's it. And that's what happens basically when you take the positive wire in your hand and you step on the negative wire with your foot.
Okay.
But we also do have iron in our bodies, though. Red blood cells.
Yes, that's exactly.
The iron in our blood. That's it. That's the only thing that can affect it.
Yes, but as someone proved by using pig's blood, believe it or not, and floating it in a small cup, floating it in a small tub on styrofoam, putting a very large neodymium magnet towards it, pushes it away.
Yeah.
So, can our blood, most mammalian blood that uses iron as its generation as its capture point for oxygen, can it be magnetized?
No.
No, no, it can't. Because in order to have an actual magnetic polarity in anything, you have to have a very large number of those magnetic fields all lining up in the same way. And if they don't, you get nada,
Nothing.
which is exactly what we are. So if you want to go ahead and prove that you can have non-magnetic metals, quote unquote, magnetically sticking to your skin, things like brass, for instance, you keep that in mind. I've got two words for you.
Brass?
Yeah, brass, because they were trying to use keys. Keys are made out of brass.
And
Yeah,
bobby pins.
And bobby
And they
pins.
weren't working.
it's not magnetic.
Exactly. So
It's electroconducive, but it's not magnetic.
that's correct. So if you want to go ahead and prove that you are magnetic to non-magnetic objects, may we first suggest that you take a look up on YouTube for human magnet James Randi. I have to put that into the show notes because I forgot to mention about that one. The Amazing Randi, of course, as we know full well, has had gone through and done a lot of debunking over the years. One of which in Japan, I think is where it was a gentleman who claimed he was magnetic, that things like irons, he could literally put it on his chest and it stuck to his chest. And, other metal objects. And James is just like, I'm going to do a very simple experiment to see if this is the case. Something that will not interfere in any way, shape, or form with magnetism. I have here a powder puff and some baby powder. And if you will allow me to dab 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 dab. Okay, would you now try to attach the iron to your chest? Now slides off. Everything that he showed before that worked slides right off.
That's what was happening in this hearing, and I thought it was hilarious.
It was absolutely. It was heart-wrenching, really, for me, to look at this and realize this is someone who theoretically dedicated a good portion of their life to biological science, and
Yeah.
now you're forgive me, a buffoon. I don't know what other term to use for it without, dropping my F-bomb early. Lord knows, we'll probably end up using that soon enough. And I should make a note for myself. James Randi powder. Because I have to add that later. So we got this woman who wants to prove, for anybody that did not see Ms. Tenpenny's testimony, I absolutely could not believe this was someone who was properly medically trained, with the way that they were absolutely a snarling, rabid animal with the way that they were talking. I can't describe it any better than that. I mean, Brigid, you saw it. Is there a better way of describing how this woman was?
I mean, she was very, very angry and very adamant, but it was just amusing. Just because she was so far off the rails. And it's just hard. It was just hard for me to believe that somebody would give that kind of testimony in a hearing. before her state legislators to try to pass this, anti-vaccine, anti-discrimination bill. Because they don't want people to discriminate against them since they're not vaccinated.
I would like to see this type of person. I just have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Are they aware of the evil they do? I mean, is it a...
I don't think so. I think they're
No.
just deluded.
How can yeah, I'd like to see if there's been any video this woman is... Anybody who's made a video of this person in the past, I'd like to see. Just kind of follow their downward spiral. I don't know what you call it. It's not the path through life.
Well, Naomi Wolf has done the same thing. She was actually so smart and wrote wonderful books 10 years ago. I happened to her.
Well, maybe, as they say, light travels faster than sound. So.
Yeah. And let's not forget, there. Oh God, who the hell was it? Some religious leader who was so incredibly anti-vaccine, anti-mask, anti-COVID is like a real thing kind of personality. It came down with and is in the hospital for, get this. COVID.
Yeah.
I forget who it was, but again, it's another one of these, semi-mega pastor kind of douche canoes. I don't, I hate it. And Joseph is right. Do these people really understand the level of evil that they are doing?
But again, the problem is twofold because, if the person's stuck in survive by imitation mode, they don't know anything outside of their own behavior. And a total lack of critical thought, of skepticism, if you will, if they've never developed this part of their brain, then they're basically just going to react to everything. And
I don't know.
Without a thought at all. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and again, this sounds condescending as hell, but I think people like this don't think. I think they just react.
Well,
And I don't
Dr.
call it
Naomi
reaction
Wolf,
a thought. Sorry.
Dr. Naomi Wolf, I don't know what happened to her. I mean, she was a respected author, but now she has gotten sucked into the chemtrails hole, and I just don't understand it.
Chemtrails.
Yes.
All one ask themselves is, qui bono? I mean, to who the benefit? Why? I mean, most of these conspiracy theories, they don't benefit anybody. Why would somebody...
I don't know.
Well,
But she's had books withdrawn now, book deals and things like that, because she's gone so far off the rails.
it's as far as to the who does it benefit for the religious, and I'm going to word it this way for a reason. I'll back it up in a second. For those that are involved with the religious cults who have been anti-mask, anti-vaccination, stay home thing, it benefits them.
For the cult leaders.
Well, two reasons. Item one,
just the fear.
Well,
Yeah,
yes.
oh, sorry.
Yes, there is that, but it helps to self-select for the people who are fully invested, or at least invested enough that they're not willing to go against. So they'll show up, they'll tithe, they'll continue to give support, and they will be a tighter knit group for it because they will be told these are the things that are holding us apart. We need to fight against them, and investing the persecution complex to these people.
Well, circling the wagons, but again,
To a degree, yeah.
yeah, but I don't know how to say this clearly. Yeah, but if as long as they don't know any other way, because if they're in the survive by imitation, they only look to their peers to, they observe their peers and quote unquote leaders to decide for them what is proper behavior, what is a proper reaction. Yeah, they won't know anything outside of that. I mean, the thing I want to underline here is there is no thought at all. And without thought, there's no. And which, why I find religious claims that religion is the ultimate in morals. I find that highly ironic.
Yeah, you're right.
Actually, Christian followers, because they're following, morals require skepticism and thought, about and a taking of responsibility of one's own actions and the effect they'll have on other people. It's not just simply following a rule without any thought at all to the consequences. And I mean, that's what I'm seeing constantly happening here in all these circumstances.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that we kind of put out there, yes, we are singling out Christianity because it's in Western areas, it is what is most prevalent.
Did I single out Christianity?
You did specifically single those out, and
okay. No, but for me, it's even larger than religion. I'm sorry for doing that, just singling out Christianity. But I mean, any organization that relies on a central thought dictate. I mean,
no, you're
as that even extends to advertising. In certain like cult followings, like I don't know, Paris Hilton. Why the fuck is she famous?
No, you're quite right. And I was actually going to make
because everybody else thinks she's famous, and that's it.
Yeah, funny enough, once upon a time ago, Tom Arnold was said to be famous because he's famous. Literally, that was the circular argument for why Tom Arnold was, who once upon a time ago was married to well, you know what? Better that we don't bring her up anyway. But what Joseph was just saying is pretty much exactly what I was going to make sure that I inserted in there. That yes, we talk about Christianity more often because that's what's most often on our radar because of the areas where we live. But what's being said, it doesn't matter which group it is. It could be any religious organization, because I mean, let's face it, we've got the Hasidic Jews in Brooklyn who have done incredibly immoral things in the realm of their religious belief, their cult following, that has got everything to do with bad, medically bad, ethically highly questionable things from a medical perspective. And
there's one thing. There's a point I'd like to come back to earlier.
Sure.
Before we lose it, before we completely erase Miss Tenpenny from our minds forever.
Oh, by all means.
I was thinking of, for doctors, there's the Hippocratic Oath.
Mm-hmm. But
I was thinking about something like that, and this is when I was listening to the Skeptic's Guide last night. It'd be cool if scientists, they would have Skeptic's Oath or something? Like a scientist who publishes or makes pronouncements on, who makes unfounded claims, or a doctor that makes unfounded claims. I'd like to see them. Imagine if there was some sort of consequences. If a doctor goes against their Hippocratic oath, what happens? Do they lose their doctorate? Do they lose their doctor status?
Yes.
They can.
Okay. Well,
Because
imagine how things would be if a doctor publishes or spreads potentially dangerous, unfounded claims.
oh, it's already happened before, and we talked about him, Mr. Wakefield.
Yeah, I know, but there's consequences for that.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I
then
mean,
again,
if they're sued for malpractice or something, yeah.
yeah.
Sued enough, I should say.
Yeah,
Okay.
and going a little sideways from doctors. I'm saying sideways, not lesser than, sideways from those in the nursing areas. They have, dedicated so much time to being the actual frontline people with patients. It's not doctors who are the frontline. It is the nurses. Believe me, trust me, they deal with more patients than any doctor does on a much more frequent basis. But
do you see what I'm saying?
no, I'm absolutely on board with you, because there are a number of nurses that have come out and said, I'm not going to take this vaccination because I've got questions about X, Y, Z, and I would much rather have the patchouli oil and what?
And some of them are, being terminated
Yeah.
for not taking it. But, hospitals can require their employees to take vaccines. That's just the way it is.
Considering
When
the
I worked at
situation.
Methodist, when I worked at Methodist, that was a condition of employment. And we had lanyards that had little rings on them so they could tell if you'd had your flu vaccine or not just by looking.
Yeah, there are a couple of items that Stephanie's got over here, and yes, I'm watching over there for you. Forgive me for not getting to you before. A couple of items. One, there is no logical thought. They run on emotion only, which is a disaster for them and anyone around them. Oh, God, is that so true? They just don't want to be inconvenienced in any way, shape, or form because suddenly it makes them the lesser. They're not the top. They're not they're not the head of the cheerleading squad anymore. And oh my God, how difficult it is to live with the stigma of just being normal. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my F-bomb right about now for these people. Whoever it is, if you're out there and you're this type of person, go fuck yourself. Let's see. Second one. No doctor has to follow the Hippocratic Oath. It has not been used for decades. Admittedly, we don't think of... All right, I can't speak for all of us. I don't think that the Hippocratic Oath is, quote-unquote, a legal thing. I think it is far and away much more the guiding principle of what so many people in the medical profession would like to live up to. I would sincerely hope, at the very least. Because otherwise, what the hell is the point of going into the medical profession if not to help people in some way, shape, or form, to alleviate suffering, to do no harm? Again, not as a legal thing, but as an aspirational thing. And finally, putting over here, however, they do get hauled up before the governing body to answer for their behavior. The relevant board can remove their licenses. And in those situations, I think we're pretty much all on board. If you cause harm intentionally, oh, absolutely, you should be hauled up. And not only should someone in that position be stripped of whatever caveats they've got added to their name, whatever the term is supposed to be, whatever accolades they've acquired, they should have them stripped, removed, banned, and subsequently, of course, as we know full well, brought up for whatever civil charges go into that. Because anyone that intentionally causes harm, there's a term for that. It starts with a something or other, psychotic, something like that. That's I'm pretty sure I'm pretty close to the realm on that one, but just I don't get these people. I really don't.
I mean, nurses can lose their license for the same thing. I mean, they can even lose their license for medication errors, even if they're not intentional.
Yeah.
And they can also be sued for malpractice.
Pharmacists, I know full well, if they dispense the wrong stuff to the wrong person, if it's a mix-up between customers, that can have deadly consequences. Reminding you, I worked in a pharmacy as a stock boy, but I paid attention. I actually, by the way, I don't think that I ever told you guys about this. When I was working 16, 17, 18 years old at the pharmacy, when I was taking chemistry, I actually took the product inserts from some of the drugs so that I could read the stuff and try to decipher all of the super techie chemistry stuff that was inside of it, including the chemistry, the organic chemistry molecules that were written in these pamphlets, just so I could try to understand them and have a great time of it. And wow, let me tell you, that was eye-opening. I don't want to do organic chemistry again. I don't know anybody that is like masochistic enough to go through organic chemistry more than once.
Yeah,
But
I mean, as far as like tearjerker books, I think my organic chemistry is the one that made me cry the most.
can't imagine why.
That was painful. And having to name, structures. Oh my God. Oh, that was horrible.
Yep.
But I was a pharmacy tech in a previous life, so yeah.
Yep. Stephanie's right. Sadly, some become doctors for the status and to boss others around. Reminding you also that there is, I forget who the hell it was, there was some person that intentionally got a PhD in geology, I think it was, so that they could say that they were a doctor of, well, they wouldn't necessarily, and then joined, they got their PhD from an accredited university, and then joined one of the religious do we call it a college university, because religious intentional, whatever.
You can.
Yeah,
I mean, Harvard has a school of divinity.
well, having a
They do.
PhD in a book club is really just a waste of money to me. But that's this is me. But I mean, this guy intentionally got a PhD so that he would have some kind of gravitas behind his name when he went through with the religious arguments for crap, and be able to say, well, you can trust me. I'm a doctor. Yeah, that worked out well. And Seeker, hi, by the way, good to see you over there. Texas hospital workers suspended over mandatory vaccine policy. Nearly 200 staff members at a Houston Methodist hospital. 178 full-time and part-time employees were refusing to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Yeah. Yeah. There is a certain point where you have to look at this stuff and go, yes, this is an emergency, and yes, this has been built in a very short amount of time, but the science holds up. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
And you have an obligation. Your first obligation is to protect your patients.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, end of story.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, again, just kind of wrapping back around, heads towards that Hippocratic oath, do no harm. Now, again, aspirational, not legal. However, the legal aspect of that, you go ahead and you infect a whole bunch of people. unintentional. That is kind of. Ooh, that's a problem.
Well, I mean, if they could trace back infections to people, I mean, I guess they could lose their license for that.
Yeah, there's two small problems with that. One, I remember stories of people who have been described as the killing angels, the people who
Oh yeah,
have intentionally euthanized elderly patients in nursing facilities,
yeah.
quietly, surreptitiously, for the reason of personal satisfaction, for lack of a better way of putting it. Yeah, these people are have a tendency to end up behind prison, which is fine by me. But I was
Yeah.
also suddenly thinking, remember how I was talking about the Hasidic Jewish community, back in Brooklyn? You want to talk about tracing back? What about the infants that end up with STIs that can be genetically identified and traced back to the moils, specifically the lips on these moils? Just,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many levels of disgusted I am with that these people are still on the streets and allowed to practice this barbarism, this butchery. I don't know what else to call it at that point. I would be, sorry, Stephanie, I would be terrified of going near that hospital. I'm assuming, from the way that you're saying it, for a Methodist hospital by name. And yeah, we've kind of talked about that last week. I think we intentionally spoke about how many, how well, we've talked about it too damn many occasions, how the Catholic health services, which in and of itself just makes me want to spit, is taking over slowly, or not so slowly, the medical industry in the United States. The hospitalization, I should say. But it
Mhm.
all kind of comes back and forth to each other.
Well, I know where I live, all of the hospital systems here are Catholic owned.
That's just insane. And Seeker is also saying Lee Health, largest hospital system in Southwest Florida, won't be among the first 5 hospitals to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Lee Health also won't require the vaccine. Then they're idiots.
Well, look at who their governor is, too. I mean, he's saying that any employers that require vaccines or cruise lines or anything else will be sued $5,000 per person for violation.
I don't even know how they can how they can even consider putting something like that into place. Sued for what?
For requiring vaccines because DeSantis is a dumb shit.
There's a certain point where you really can't argue. I don't think that I could.
And
D-
he's front runner for 2024 if Trump doesn't run.
oh, I hope he does. I hope he does. Because that means that he then ends up in various other states again, and the likelihood of him being in a state where he can't avoid being sued, can't avoid being arrested. Oh, that would be delicious. But that's just me. Basically, this means that DeSantis is the perennial Florida man now,
Yep.
doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
He helps put the duh in Florida.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And Stephanie's also said, I am grateful that I live in the UK where this is not possible. Right there with you. More power to you. God, how many times we end up seeing, op-ed articles where people have said, it's amazing. This whole single-payer health thing, nationalized healthcare system never seems to work in the Western countries, except for all of them, except one. Apparently, there's got to be something that's mentally wrong with us if you keep sticking with the imperial system of measurements. Real briefly, Stephanie's going to know this one, but some people do, some people don't. And Joseph will be back momentarily. Real quickly, Brigid, are you familiar with, in the UK back in I forgot what year it was, mid-70s, I think, the Decimalization Day?
No.
Stephanie's going to have a little bit of fun going, oh my God, that whole fiasco. Decimalization Day was the day where the British currency went from let's just call it the imperial system that it used previously, where denominations were broken down into 16s and 12s and 8s and 4s and weird combinations, weird comparatively to today, and then switched over to being decimalized. So it was based on groupings of 10s and 100 instead of 4 shillings make a farthing or whatever. I don't remember what the breakdown was. I don't remember. I will admit that. This was I think it was the mid-70s. I don't remember. But it was
when I was in London last, I heard this exchange in a fish and chip shop, and it was a woman and she was going, "How much for the chips?" or something like that. And the guy behind the counter kind of answered snidely, "That's 2 shillings and a farthing."
Oh, that's just mean. That's just mean.
Yeah.
That's just mean.
Well, the whole place cracked up. So
yeah. 1973. Thank you, Stephanie. It was 1973. Yeah, and the idea of switching over was so painful for so many people, and they didn't know what was going to happen with it. And then the changeover happened, and well, I mean, basically Britain is still here. So, my point is that change is okay. I mean, I said earlier, I've gotten my second vaccination. I'm more than 2 weeks past, and look, I can do this. Watch my hand. Those of you that are listening after the fact, just picture this for a second. I've got my hand out in front of the camera. I'm taking my 2 inner fingers in, and I'm squeezing. And what's happening? Nothing. I have no superpowers. I don't have web swimming. I can't crawl on walls. The best thing that I've got for me as far as to a superpower, I sweat. It's coming up into summer, and I'm Italian. I mean, that's kind of it.
You just made a potential shadow bunny.
No, because Shadow Bunny is like this.
Well, okay.
Why do I know this? Why do I know this? Fuck.
There's so many superpowers now.
Oh my God, why do I know that? Oh God, there are a couple of I know.
The wolf.
Oh God, so okay, yes, I know that there are a couple of different ways of doing a bunny, and the one that I did was very, very simplistic and one-handed. I know. The fact that I know this scares the living shit out of me.
And when you shine the flashlight under your chin, it looks super ominous too.
God.
It would go perfectly with the vaccination story.
I don't know how this is going to play out. And Seeker, you know what? I'm I'm right there with you, even though I was terrified of needles, and I've got reasons for that. So you're saying, I'm willing to take a third and fourth if need be. You know what? I got no problem with that, because over time we may kind of need to. I'm so, I am so massively disappointed that we, and I'm using the royal we here, not to mean royal UK we, I just mean the royal we, like the rest of the world, other than Australia and New Zealand, didn't just stop this damn thing in its tracks and just kill it by attrition. I'm I'm so sad for that. New Zealand did it. They basically said, okay, everybody stay home. Why? Because if we can stop this thing from spreading, it'll die, and nobody else has to.
No, that makes sense. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, Australia. Well, I mean, shit, people in Australia want to stay indoors most of the time anyway. Actually, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It was wait, for them it was when did it happen? It was spring northern, so it was fall. It was autumn in the southern hemisphere. So for them, yeah, mate, you want to stay inside? Sure, that's no problem. I mean, everything wants to kill
They
you
have
out there.
had
Anyway.
outbreaks in Melbourne and things like that recently, but if they have like 5 people that are positive, then they go back into lockdown.
Yeah, and it's Melbourne.
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 Okay.
Yeah, I got the talk once upon a time ago about that. It's not Melbourne because that's the way that it's spelled. It's Melbourne because that's the way that we say it.
They say it.
Well,
Was it Jake Farwharton who
No.
ripped your head off, or
no,
somebody else?
no, because Jake wouldn't do that to me.
It's kind of like, all the Commonwealth countries. Like, in Canada, Toronto is not Toronto, it's Tirana.
Rana, yeah.
Yeah, there is that.
And I guess, like Louisville here is spelled like Louisville, and it's not Louisville, it's Louisville.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The same way over here in Buffalo, there is a highway that it's spelled it's an indigenous name. It's Skajaquita. Yes, there's a Q in there. Skajaquita. And locally it's pronounced 198. So I completely understand how, everybody gets all pissed off about the whole damn thing. By the way, Buffalo, my city smells of Cheerios. That is a real thing. Look it up sometime. Talked about that earlier tonight with some friends. Yes.
William Washington kills me too because it's spelled Sequim, but it's Quim.
Okay, sure. Yeah, why not?
True story.
Not the drag queen capital of the world, Sequin.
It might be. We don't know. Until we go look it up, we can't be sure. Oh, God. Maybe one of these days I'll explain about my my needle fear, because it's not at all what a lot of people would otherwise think.
I've gotten over mine.
I have now too.
I just discovered at my vaccination.
Yeah. Yeah. You know
I
what?
had no choice but to get over mine.
Well, yeah, you can't. I'm pretty sure the Air Force probably did that one to you too.
Yes, they did, and that's why I have really crappy veins now. But yeah, every Friday, 2 o'clock for a whole year, I had to go get my blood drawn.
People, I'm going to say this. I've said it many a time, and I know full well that people will back me up on this one. A good phlebotomist is someone to cherish greatly.
Yeah.
Those of you that don't know what a phlebotomist is, you are you have no idea how lucky you are. Truly. When my wife had to go and get her blood drawn, there was one person that she wanted to get it from because everybody else was just not as good. Is the nicest way I can put that. Ooh, and that is entirely possible. Seeker is saying, not sure if it's me, but by the way, that's the wrong butt. It's a cute butt, but it's the wrong butt. But I swear I can hear people's voices have changed that have caught COVID. Like their voices are more raspy, like they've been yelling. Um, that,
That's interesting.
that is very, very much so. Considering that the testing location that was used would have been at the top of the throat, that doesn't totally surprise me then. It's curious, it's interesting, but not totally surprising to me. I mean, it's an ear, lungs, and throat, um, stronghold right there. That's a little, that's a little disconcerting too. Damn. Um, that's something to think about.
Oh, well, speaking of Karens and getting back to that,
Yeah.
at least, locally here, and well, no, I've actually heard of this in other places too. Having women snap at restaurant staff because they got their order wrong or something.
Throwing coffee, jumping over the countertop, ripping the registers off of the countertop and throwing it at people.
Yeah, just behaving badly.
Is it women more? I know that I've seen more reports of, but I don't know if that's really what it is. You know?
Well, at least here locally, that's what's been reported.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm really wondering if it's really more women. Oh, great. Now my brain is going to the whole thing about, you know, gun violence tends to be more white men by like 75 to 25%.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
I heard 95%.
I think you might be right, but I was just kind of going for a,
Well, as far as like mass shootings go, it's overwhelmingly
oh
men.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, easily 90, easily
Yep,
90%.
yep.
But the 95%, yeah, I think that's a little bit more a little bit more accurate, but I don't want to commit that far over to it just yet. But the reason why I'm going there is that I'm kind of wondering if the gun violent thing is much more the guy thing, but the personalized physical attacks might be the woman thing. And I'm wondering if that's actually a thing. If it's not, if it's because of reporting, because we can't necessarily go by reporting until we actually go digging into the actual data and reporting, data reporting from incident reports, and that would be kind of curious statistically to look into.
Yeah, I mean, here I'm just going by what comes across, police scanners and is reported. And it's more women here locally that are acting out in restaurants and things. But as
You
far
know,
as like pulling guns on people and things, it's males around here.
it's so funny that we have all the information we want at our fingertips to we're born, you know, hormones do shit to people, and even statistically, and looking at the statistics, we can see we can concretize certain behavior traits between men and women. But the thing is that we never discuss is that we're born with a set of hardwired tools, but we're also born with the means to overcome them. I mean, men can calm their fucking hormones. Neuroplasticity, a bit of critical thought, you know. Why the fuck did I just think what I just thought? Why am I doing this? That's all it takes to overcome, certain reactions.
But until and unless people think beyond the I want, I will have, Gibby,
Yeah.
they're not going to be able to get to that.
And this is nowhere in our education system. I was even listening to a colleague. She was talking about trying to explain, uh, sexuality to her son. And like I was just watching as everybody in the group, they were just like tongue-tied because they wanted to say something, but they didn't quite dare to say it. Basically, men are born with. We've all seen adolescent boys, and like those of us who have been in that, we know what it feels like. But I mean, just like our reactions tend to be, we're pumped up with hormones. Basically, we've evolved to basically men have been evolved to let's just say spread as much seed as possible. So like, the basic drive in men is to do that. But nowhere in our education system is anything about nothing in our education gives us the tools to overcome that.
And every time
This
that sex
this is
education,
this is the tool, but it goes beyond sex education. I mean, just teaching about the human body's not enough. I mean, it's
well,
like all
yes,
the shit you're feeling. Here's how you deal with it.
right, yeah, which is actually what I was gonna add into that. That even at
Oh,
the
sorry.
times when there are theoretically sex education, so much of it centers on the physical side of it. If you're lucky enough to get that beyond, just just keep a what was the old one? Keep an aspirin between your knees, right? Wasn't that one of those old timey ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're even lucky enough to get even that much, they don't really talk about, okay, let's talk a little bit more about the mental aspect of all the things that are going on for you now and how you can deal with this and what you're gonna start to notice. Please be aware of these kinds of things. I mean, you don't even get that much. So just backing up a second, Stephanie had also said, where was it over here? My voice is often like that, the raspy thing from the COVID. The brain fog and chronic fatigue have gone. On behalf of all of us, I'm so glad to hear that part at least. I'm so glad. And it may sound overblown, but our overall hopes for continued recovery, because something tells me recovery is going to take even a little bit longer than this yet for what's been going on. So, good to hear that part. And, I may be
I had
overselling it
my
just a little bit.
What's really interesting is about 40% of people who have long COVID symptoms are getting better after getting vaccines. And the jury is still out on why or how, but it's, a good thing.
like I got vaccinated on Thursday morning, And yeah, I can tell you Thursday afternoon and Friday was not feeling great.
Oh, just wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is the second one supposed to be harder?
Well, yes, I got apparently incredibly lucky because for me, I didn't have any real sick symptoms. I had I had a little bit of not sleeping well, but that had already been happening. But for the most part, and Brigid, be my guest, as I've understood it, the second one is when the machinery just goes ahead and gets actually properly switched on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just I just had heat waves.
And with my second one, I felt really crummy for about 3 days, really fatigued, and had a blinding headache.
Yeah, that's I had a practical migraine.
Yeah, I did too.
And I was
That's not
sweating
fun.
like a motherfucker. But
Ugh.
that might have been just my menopause setting in.
But it's still better than getting COVID.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think it's fair to go ahead and say that. We're getting a little bit close to the top of the hour, and I think I think I want to see about wrapping us relatively on time for a change. Not for any other reason other than, wow, that'd be novel for a change, wouldn't it? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's just me. Stephanie was saying that, funnily, I got a morning of feeling rotten from the first vaccination, but nothing from the second one. Um, I'm kind of wondering because I don't remember the timeline for everything for you. Did you get the vaccination before you were infected, or which one came first? Because if you because I'm thinking if you got the infection and it kind of the vaccination happened after that, I can see where that would be, the kickstart on your system to really go ahead and, okay, we know kind of what's been going on before. Let's go ahead and do this properly now. Everybody from the top, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get the idea here. A little bit of levity, little bit. Leave me alone.
To be fair.
To be
Fair.
fair.
If you've been sensitized to COVID, then it would make sense that getting the vaccine would provoke a stronger response.
Yeah. Joseph, you went ahead and you were saying, to be fair. I mean, come on, I mean,
Finish your thought,
yeah.
please.
I was finishing the thought. That was the whole point of it. To be fair.
Oh, God, great. Now I got the Green Goblin in my head. Finish it. There are a few people who actually still remember that particular line, and I'm sorry. That movie could have been so much worse. I'm glad it wasn't.
I have an idea to think about maybe for the future.
Sure.
Why don't we go off and start our own country somewhere? Like skeptic field.
Well,
Or at least a compound.
well, here's the thing. You know how there is that island of plastic out there in the ocean.
Yeah.
Hold on. If it wasn't for the cost of plywood, couldn't we just take like a bunch of plywood, lay it on top of that stuff? It would act as natural buoyancy, and we could just screw them all together and just make a country, a floating country house.
Blow up a bouncy castle. A bouncy castle.
Yeah, but that's still on somebody else's property.
No, you could just float it out there.
Okay, yeah, international waters, 20 miles off the coast of the Americas. Yeah, that's
No,
internet.
actually, you need to go up closer to Greenland because of climate change.
Hmm. Plus, you wouldn't have to necessarily worry about typhoons at that point.
That's true.
That could be a problem.
And in a bouncy castle, if there's a typhoon, you'd be protected.
Well, yes and no. I mean, yes, you wouldn't have to worry about, being submerged so long as the thing stays inflated. But chances are the thing wouldn't stay inflated. So maybe not.
One can do wonders with epoxy these days.
That's true. That's true. And before we go ahead and properly close out, Seeker had said, thank you for doing these shows. I might have been gone, but still watch when I can. All of you are the mental escape I need. Felt like I got a shot of happy medicine. Then it felt like I got hit in my arm with a baseball bat. Second was the same, but with headache for a few days. Yeah, for the shot.
Yeah.
I just want to say, really quickly, I just want to say, thank you. It dawned on me as I was writing up for today's show that next week is 365 episodes, a show a day, finally. After how many years has it been? And I was really kind of thinking about it in the terms of, we've been doing this and puttering along for years. And I've kind of wondered, is it worth it? And trying to remind myself, in the back of my head, dude, it's not a race. It's not a contest. Hearing that helps. Just thank you. Just thank you right back, man. So I don't think that I've got anything to say as a final, really, for tonight. Just this piece. Just this piece. You have a responsibility because you are a member of society. If you don't recognize that, then you're a douche canoe. Cut it out. See, I don't have to do I don't have to do a secondary 5-minute freestyle to close it off. Nice and simple, right there. 30 seconds. It's all. Don't be a douche. Don't be a dick. Simple that way. Who wants to close up their portion tonight first?
I don't have too much to add other than please don't be a Karen.
That's a good one. And Joseph?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, let's hope we're a few more for next week.
I hope so. I will put out the word, and I will see if there is a way that I can maybe open up a different system so that we can invite folks to actually be, on the air with us just by joining a chat room on the Discord. Maybe I'll see if I can make that happen. I mean, it'd be fun. It'd be nice for those that want to be able to do it. And who knows? Maybe I can even scare Cash into saying, "Yeah, I'll show up for 5 seconds just so I can say, yeah, this is Cash. I made it. Bye." that I would not put that past him to do that.
Have you got news from him?
He's doing okay. Last I saw, I don't have anything specific that I can think to share, but boy seems like he's still doing okay. I can't fault him. Although he's some of the stuff that I've seen, he's made some really nice food, and damn it, I wish I was down there sometimes. Whatever, fine. I'll just deal with it. Fine. I'll just make my own goddamn cornbread. How's that? I'll go with that. Anyone talk to Emery? Been forever since we heard anything about those guys. Emery. I don't remember who that is.
He's Heather Henderson's partner, and they used to do Ardent Atheist.
Okay.
And she also sang backup in Pendulet's band.
Ooh. Very nice. So the question, anyone talk to Emery? No, not me, at least. Sorry.
I haven't seen him around in a while.
Okay. Well, we will.
I'll check up on him, though. Who wants to know?
That was Seeker.
Well, I mean, I'm friends with him on Facebook. I can check and see if he's posted anything
Okay. Well,
real quick.
we'll see. Well, all right. You hold on to that while we get there, and at that point, we'll just go ahead and close up shop, and we're going to be very close to on time this week if we hurry along with all this. So, everybody, thank you for being with us.
Emery is doing fine, and he just marked himself unsafe in the United States of America.
Unsafe?
Marked himself sick and tired of the Austin shooting and the hundreds of other shootings.
Oh,
But he's doing fine.
Yeah, and the London, Ontario motor attack.
Yeah.
That was in my hometown, by the way.
wonderful.
And Emery is now working for Warner Brothers Entertainment as a film producer.
Wow. Somebody got themselves a good job.
So he is doing fine.
All right. No worries. And Seeker, glad that we were able to help you out on that just a little bit. So let me go ahead and do this finally. Thank you all very much for being with us. As always, we hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and you got something to think about for the week ahead. As was said, Stephanie, TP Seeker, thank you guys. I cannot thank you enough, truly. And as a sideways on this one, by the way, the latest word on Phyllis is that she has been able to get up to walk, speak a little bit. It's tiring because I mean, stroke. You gotta kind of get hit really hard when something like that happens. But she's been able to listen to the Friday night show that Dalan and I do, and she's getting some smiles out of it. So that's something worthwhile. So, guys, thank you very much. Joseph, you have a good morning. Good luck for the week, and I really do hope that whatever vacation downtime that you're able to get for yourself, I mean, I hope it's worthwhile.
Yeah, me too. I'm not gonna be spending 2 weeks in this fucking apartment. So, here's hoping. I'm gonna have to postpone until probably after the 14th of July weekend, which is our 4th of July.
Bastille Day.
Yep.
Which, as a sideline, is also the unofficial birth date of Icarus the Lunar Guard. Not that it means anything to most anybody, but I just figured I'd just throw that out there just because I can. I'll explain later. And Brigid, thank you very much. You also, hon, take care of yourself. Be careful, huh?
Yeah, I sure will. And fuck Mike Pence and the GOP and DeSantis and
that's a good one.
my governor and Joe Manchin and Christian Cinema.
Wait, what was that last one?
Kristen Cinema, the other dino, that did the little cutesy thumbs down thing on the minimum wage hike and all that stuff.
Oh,
Her.
gotcha. See, with everything else going on, another item that I missed.
Yeah, What's the purpose of having two Democrats in the Senate that vote with the Republicans? I mean, really.
I don't know. But that's a whole other thing for a little bit later. Meantime,
Yeah.
everybody, again, thank you very much for being with us. If you'd like to get the audio version of the show, the link is over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. Over on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll be able to get it from over there. All of our contact information is also at the website, and the phone number for the voicemail line is 859-HCTV 554 859-4288-554. Please stay safe, stay healthy, be careful, and like I tell everybody, like I said, it is summertime fun time. Don't get drunk on a boat. I know I opened with it, but I close with it. You want to fall down drunk on dry land, you'll bump your head. You fall down drunk in the water, we're not going to hear from you again. Please don't become a statistic. So, until next time, it's going to be fun time next week. We try to figure out what in the hell we're going to do and who we're going to talk with. It might even be you. So until the next time we get together, everyone, as always, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well, my lady. 16 years on, I am still in love with you. Mwah. Matere Fujin, I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone, as always, good night.